Alright guys, so welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to convert our chunks that we created in the previous tutorial, and we're going to convert them into embeddings. If you guys remember, we split down our document into chunks, and in this tutorial we're going to pass those chunks into a machine learning model that is going to create text embeddings for us. So let's just start with this and let's see how it goes. So I have added a few resources for you guys to look into if you want to, but basically the way this is what we're going to use, by the way, Text Embeddings API. In this thing, obviously, if you guys remember, Google provides these three models to create embeddings, and this is English models, and we would be using this one here. And this is a simple code in which you can add your text, and the output that you get is an embedding. So this is not a typical LLM model in which you put string or a text in and it doesn't it's not like it's taking string in and string out. It's actually a text or string in, and it is giving embeddings as a result. And remember, if you remember, we're going to take these embeddings and we're going to store them into a vector store. That way we can perform semantic search. There are a few more details if you guys want to read more about it. Obviously, first thing that you would want to do is enable the Vertex AI API in your project. That way you can use this thing. If you don't enable it, obviously you're going to come into error. But once you enable it, after that it's really easy to just add some text, select the type of model you want, and just perform embeddings. Really simple model. Okay, so let's start with this thing. One of the things that we forgot, actually I forgot to do in the beginning, was to set quota for this project. Obviously this would require your project to enable billing, obviously the cost would be like really low, like maybe like a couple cents, but you still need to enable the billing for this thing. So yeah, one of the things you need to do is set up this as an environment variable. Your project ID should be set as a environment variable, and then you just need to enable this. Sometimes the the environment in which you're running, in this case this Colab notebook, sometimes it doesn't detect these things. So one of the things you need to do is to restart the kernel after running this. So I'm just going to run this, and as you can see, this was done here, this was added. And to restart it, just go to runtime and just select restart session. In this case, in my case, I don't need to do it because it already detected and it should be fine. But let's say if like if you come across an error like further down the code, not at this part, but in the further when we run the code, in which you get an error that it was not able to detect these things, then in that case you can just restart the kernel and it should be fine. Okay, now let's start with the code. So one of the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import Vertex AI. So if you guys let me show you guys the console part. You should be able to see Vertex AI, and when you open it for the first time, so somewhere here it would ask you obviously to enable all the APIs, so you need to do that. Once you do that, you can go all the way to vector search, because this is what we'll be using to store our documents. Right now obviously we're not going to store it in this tutorial, but we'll be doing it in the next one. So yeah, as if you have enabled, you should be good to go. I'm just going to write a function here that is going to take the text, the model, and it is going to generate embeddings from it. So as you can see, this is just a simple function, the same function that we saw before in here, and also I believe in the other one. Let me show you guys. So yeah, in the other document, I believe it was this. No, it's not that. Yeah. So yeah, the same code that we saw here, I'm just going to use the same code and just start with this thing. And yeah, basically I'll be running this function and I'll get embeddings out of it. If you come across an error in which you don't have permission or something in this part of this code, because in this part of the code we are actually using the API, we're actually making a request to the API. If you get a permission error or something, in that case just go ahead and restart the kernel, and that should be fine. So let me go ahead and do this. And this might take a few seconds, but yeah, since we don't have our document was not like huge, our chunks were not like so many, that's the reason the embeddings were quick. So let me just go ahead and add these things into a JSON file. So basically, I'm going to create a function, and the purpose for this function is to create basically. Oh, sorry. So yeah, this is the simple function in which I am just taking those embeddings that we saw before, and in here I'm just going to write them, all of them, into a JSON file. So this is the rough this is, you could say, the index that I'll be using, in which IDX would be the index, text would be the chunk that it belongs to, and the embedding would be the embedding of that text, okay, of that text chunk. Really simple function, and the reason I'm doing this is because we're going to use this JSON file later on to directly export it to the vector search AI, and then it becomes really easy at that time to set up the whole index and everything. So that's the reason I'm just going to store this right now in my local environment, and you guys should be able to see it in your environment if you run this part as well. And it's a simple JSON file. If I open and show you guys, so basically it starts with an ID, then it would have a text, and that text would be some chunk, obviously, and then you would have the rest of the embedding, which would be numbers and stuff. Really simple thing. Now the next part that we're going to do in this is, obviously, we would be exporting this thing into Google Cloud, GCS. You might probably already have this thing enabled, but if you don't, then just go to cloud storage, and in the cloud storage, if you don't have it enabled, you just need to enable. Because I believe you might already have it, because previously in our previous tutorial we already created a bucket here, so you might see the same bucket in here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to export this embedding file, and we're going to put it inside this bucket. So if I open this bucket, you guys should be able to see the file in here. So this is the file. So if I'm able to show you guys, there you go. So the same file, you can see it here. I don't know if I can do this. No, I cannot. Okay, should be fine. So it was a simple tutorial, this one. All we did was just just use the text API, text embedding API, and basically we just converted this to embeddings, and after that we exported all the embeddings along with the respective chunks into a JSON, and then after that we just exported all that into our GCS cloud storage. If you guys want to explore more, you can also open these embeddings by yourself. Let me show you guys. So embeddings, it would probably be a complete list, but this is, for example, the embedding of the first, I guess, let me actually write it like this. So this would be the embedding of the first word of the first chunk. So that's how it works here. So it's really simple. Embeddings, obviously, it would all be numbers, like floating points, so don't go into much details about them, but that's the case. See you guys in the next tutorial, in which we are going to actually create a vertex search, actually vector search, and we're going to create an index, and we would be importing all of these embeddings into there so that we can perform semantic search. So see you guys later.